I've got a bit of cast on itis, and I've pulled some yarns from my stash and I've paired them up with some patterns, and I need your help to figure out what to cast on next. So grab your whip, grab a beverage, and let's dive in. Welcome back, friends. If you are new here, my name is Melissa. I'm the dyer behind Rising Tide Fiber Company. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads at Rising Tide Fiber Co. And on Ravelry, you can find me as Macy Boston. I've dug through my stash. I've picked some patterns. I am itching to cast on one more like summer tee or tank. I just got a little bit of cast on itis. And so I'm thinking that I can add a quiz down below and you guys can help me pick what I should cast on next based upon what I picked. Or maybe you'll have suggestions for something entirely different. Who knows? So first up is deep stash. I have this really beautiful green. And this is called Shamrock. It's color 533. And it is from Knit One, Crochet Two. It's their Cosette base. And this is 62% silk, 30% cotton, and 8% polymide. And this is really old. Like, this is from, remember when Jimmy Beans used to have that little sale? I want to say it was like in the upper right hand corner. It was like a button you could push on their website and it would take you to a landing page, and like every 15 minutes, I think it was, they would change the yarn that was like deep discounted. That's where this came from. I have I have 4 skeins of this. It is considered a sport, and I'm thinking that I would like to make the Prospect Tee. This is a pattern by Tori Yu. It's knit on a US 4, which seems to be a sweet spot for me right now. Everything I'm knitting is pretty much on a US 4. It is constructed with top-down construction. It has drop shoulders. This is a newer pattern. I want to say it came out in March of this year, and it seems to be flattering everyone. And everyone who's knit one has really loved the final garment that they have. And again, it's flattering on everyone. That pattern can be knit in a fingering / sport, which is why I think this would be perfect. And again, I've had this yarn for so long. We're talking, this is probably 10 years old, deep stash. Because of the silk cotton blend with that little bit of nylon, I think this would make a really good Prospect Tee. The next yarn is not really that old in my stash per se, because it is from right after Yarn Centric of this year, 2026. And so everyone was walking around. I was outside in my trailer, and I was kind of out by myself. So everybody had to basically pass me to get to their vehicles. So I kind of saw all the various vendor bags that were walking by. And the one that was most prominent to me at the time was the orange bag from Yarn Jam. And when I would ask people, I could not figure out what it was, but somebody at the end of that weekend, I asked, and people said, oh, she has this silk linen blend. And so I went on her website and she had some. So I have 3 skeins of her silk linen fingering. It's called Malbec. It's this like wine color. It's really pretty. And this is 65% silk, 35% linen. There's almost 500 yards on this. And so I was thinking of pairing this with the Solent tee by the Knit Purl Girl. This is a pattern that came out in July of 2024. Now, this is a top-down construction. My only concern is it's knit using a US 6. I don't know what it is about designers who want to knit fingering with a US 6. It's one thing for me if it's a shawl, because then it's very airy and drapey. That looks like cobweb to me, because I guess I'm just a really loose knitter. Like a garment, you're going to be able to see right through it. So I would definitely have to gauge swatch and see if I could get gauge. I'm guessing I might be able to get gauge on a US 3 or a US 4. But we'd have to see. I'm thinking this is the only yarn that I'm just not confident. I mean, I have 1,500 yards of this stuff, but I won't know unless I swatch it. I could always, again, change the needle size if necessary. The next yarn, actually, this is also not very deep stash. I want to say I got this in right around the same time. And this is the Holskarn Coast yarn, and it's in the colorway Fairy. I have 10 skeins, and that's because I made sure that I got enough that I could carry this double if I wanted to, because it's pretty light fingering. And so the Coast yarn is 45% lamb's wool, 45% cotton, sorry. So this is very light fingering, so I could hold this double. Right now, I am using this very same yarn in 2 different colors, in Putty and Iced Sea, which is like a really pale gray and a really pale blue. I'm holding them together. They're marling for the Honey Petal cardigan. I had originally bought this at the same time because of tariffs and shipping costs. They were having a sale. It worked out really well to just go ahead and get the second color. And my reasoning or logic at the time was I wasn't really sure if I marled those 2 together, of the gray and the blue, if I was really going to be pleased with the way they look. So I bought the pink, enough to make the long sleeve cardigan in the pink. In case I didn't like the way the gray and the blue marled, I would have this as backup. I loved the other 2 marled together for that cardigan. It's great. I don't know that I necessarily want to knit a second cardigan. I absolutely could with this yarn, but I do really love working with this yarn. So I'm thinking, because if I carry it double, I can get like a Sport DK gauge with this. I'm thinking the Rainy Day tee by Sar Nordlund. And this is a pattern from August of 2024. It is top-down construction, and it is knit on a US 4. I already know that I can get gauge with the US 4 with this yarn, so that's not really an issue. I love this tee. I knit the Gib sweater by Andrea Mallory that has that cabling at the raglans, and I love that sweater. Unfortunately, I used a non-superwash merino yarn that had a rather low micron count, and it pills. It is ridiculous, and it looks like a really old beat up sweater. You have to shave it all the time. It's a nightmare, and I love that sweater. I'm not sure I would want to knit it again because of all the texture in it. So to me, this tee feels like a really nice compromise, because I get that really fun cable raglan that I love without having to do all the texture everywhere else. This is the contender for this yarn. The next yarn is one that I bought last summer, and that is the Kelborn Woolens Mojave. And I have it, basically I have 4 skeins in this mint color and then the 1 in the coral. And I bought this last spring. Mojave is 60% cotton, 40% linen. These are 50-gram skeins. I bought these to make the Take Turns tank by Lily Kate France. This is a pattern that came out in May of 2022. I would stick with the Take Turns tank. This is constructed top down. It's knit with a US 4. I love these two colors together. It was just something that I just never got around to knitting. And I think at the time, though it was a tank top, until this summer, I haven't ever knit a tank top because I just wasn't sure about my arms. But I think now that I'm 50, I'm just like, I don't care what other people think. So I should just go ahead and show my arms because it's hot. But so the Take Turns tank is definitely a contender. I hear really great things about Mojave. So, and it is incredibly soft in the hank. So I'd be curious. And then the last yarn is this Lang Serralino, right? Creolino. And this is a beautiful lilac color. They call it 1089. And I got this spring, so April of 2026, at my guild's annual yarn swap. Basically, people bring yarn from their stash. It gets laid out by weight on tables. We take turns, through this lottery mix kind of, to go and get yarn. And so I have 6 skeins of this. There are 50 grams. There's 165 meters in each of these. And I have had my eye on the Tankar tee by Annina, Juuti. I'm not really sure. My apologies. This is a pattern from June of 2023. It is a DK weight. The linen is DK. Again, this is another one that's using a US 6. I would have to do some serious gauge swatching because I don't think because it's really thin, even with a US 6 and it being DK weight, we know that plant fibers, they always feel thinner than their wool counterparts. So I'm really not confident a US 6 I'm going to be able to get gauge. This is knit, top down. It has a boat neck. It's drop shoulders. I think it would look really lovely in the lilac colorway. So I'd be really curious. Of the 5 patterns paired with the 5 different yarns, do you like the Prospect tee in this green silk cotton? Do you want to see the Solent tee in the silk linen by Yarn Jam? The Rainy Day tee with the pink Holst garn? Or would you like to see the striped tank in the Mojave? Or do you want to see this tee in the linen? So those are my 5 options. As much as I would love to cast them all on, I know that's not realistic. I have a couple other tees and tanks and a cardigan and a sweater. Like, I have multiple whips, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have no problems finishing my Avenue tank, and I'm working really hard on a couple of my others. So I love summer garments, and I think they're really versatile because you can use them as layering pieces during other seasons outside of fall, spring, and summer. During those winter months, you can definitely layer them. So I would love to know. Again, I'm going to try and add a quiz down in the comments. If not, just tell me in the comments. Which pairing would you do? Would you change the yarn for a pattern? Would you change the pattern for a particular yarn? Especially this one that I'm just really questioning gauge on. So I would love to know down in the comments. If you are new and you liked this content, I would love for you to give the video a like, subscribe to my channel. We'd love to have you in my little community of viewers. And until next time, friends, happy making.